Hi, and welcome to this episode of Future Identity Now. I'm Laura Camperson, I'm the Future Identity Portfolio Lead, and it's my pleasure today to be chatting to Fabian Eberle, co-founder and COO at Keyless. Fabian, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me.
So Future Identity Now explores all the trends and technologies shaping our digital identity ecosystem as we speak. But before we jump in, Fabian, if I could just please ask you to introduce yourself and tell us about Keyless.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Fabian. I'm CEO and co-founder at Keyless. We are a passwordless authentication company pioneering privacy-preserving biometric authentication that is based on a unique combination of face biometrics and liveness detection or anti-spoofing technology and cryptography that allows us to support our customers to minimize account takeover fraud, or fraud in general, increase and improve the user experience, while at the same time ensure compliance to privacy and data residency regulations without compromising on the user experience for all users.
Thank you for that introduction. It's an exciting time, I think, to be working in digital identity and important time to be working in fraud prevention. Keyless will be joining us at our festival, the Future Identity Festival, on the 14th and 15th of November this year. And you joined us last year as well in November 2021. Since that time, the industry has continued to evolve at rapid pace. But Fabian, from your perspective, what are some of the most significant developments that we've seen in the digital identity sector in the past year?
Yeah, one of the biggest changes or developments we've noticed is the integration or the convergence between authentication solutions such as Keyless and adjacent markets around fraud detection or fraud prevention and the identity proofing or KYC landscape. And we were in a survey on our target market, predominantly the financial services sector, and found that out of those that had both an authentication solution and a risk management or fraud prevention engine, more than 60% or 65% actually had an integrated solution already. So we, for example, integrate with solutions like Sift, our parent company, and whereas previously customers would have bought point solutions from different or a set of vendors, they're now looking for an integrated platform that can address all their needs across the entire user journey.
No, I completely agree. I think that's something I've noticed as well. You know, the trend to integrate authentication, fraud, risk management, and onboarding across the identity lifecycle. I think it's really gathered pace, and I imagine will only continue to do so. Now, as you were introducing Keyless, you mentioned that key word passwordless and your mission to obviously reduce reliance on passwords. Now, I don't know about you, but myself, from my work life and personal life as well, I probably log into about 10 to 20 different services using a password every day. So why do you think organizations are still reliant on passwords as a method of authentication? And what needs to change if we're really to embrace that passwordless future?
That is a very good question. And passwords really have been around since a very long time, essentially since the 1960s, as the dominant means still today to log in or authenticate people online. There's been various issues that come back to passwords or credentials that have been addressed by adding additional layers of security, which compromises the user experience even further and doesn't really solve that underlying pain point, which essentially is the password, which completely disconnects the identity of the user and how they authenticate on an ongoing basis when they interact with the service. So I think it really comes down to two main elements. One is really a mindset shift in embracing a completely different way of authenticating or interacting with end users, whether that's employees across the enterprise and the work setting or end users on a day-to-day life. And it is a mindset shift, not just from a solution perspective, but it involves the entire company, from the security personas to the technology personas, the product personas, head of risks, innovation. So the entire company needs to embrace that different mindset of how to interact with people. And the second one is really about the solution itself. It cannot be just more secure, just address the user experience around passwordless experience. It needs to address that trilemma of user experience, risk or security, and privacy compliance all at the same time, and seamlessly integrate with those existing infrastructures, which often are quite complex in legacy environments for a company to function.
Absolutely. So some challenges there to overcome that shift in mindset and get all those different parts of organizations on board. But as you say, vital for improving security and for unlocking that better customer experience as well. One other concept you touched on there, which I know is of central importance to Keyless, is that importance of privacy. So can you explain what are some of the real dangers, I suppose, if biometric solutions are not privacy preserving, and how do you mitigate against those risks?
Because privacy is a big part of our offering, or of our DNA as a company. And the biggest danger to face biometrics, so biometrics in general, is the concept of biometric data to be stolen or leaked. And you probably know your face unlocks your device, but if you would think that anyone would have access to your face, which is something that would not change over time, it is a real danger, not just from a compliance perspective, but ultimately a big risk from security, brand reputation, essentially, that is at stake here. And we'll take a step back of how biometric authentication can be achieved. There's really two paradigms as to how that would work today. One is that local authentication or platform authenticators. Think of Face ID on the iPhone, which essentially doesn't do more than unlocking the device that you're using, that you're proving possession of. The iPhone doesn't know who you are. You can only use that one device where your face is stored. And it still disconnects you as Laura, the real person, and the device that you're using, as the service, the bank that you're authenticating into, or the payment that you're authorizing. And on the other hand, there is what is called central biometric authentication, where that biometric matching would not happen on the device, but off of the device, which requires for that data to be stored in a central database, essentially a central honeypot, where all the data is stored and needs to be protected, which obviously is a big risk, not just from a privacy standpoint, data residency. There are other requirements that companies need to adhere to, which makes that paradigm quite complex to adopt. And what we've been innovating at Keyless is that concept of distributed biometric authentication, whereby we take a user's face and transform it in a way that it doesn't represent biometric information anymore, and it doesn't require to be stored anywhere, not on the user's devices, nor in any central location. So we really achieve that seamless biometric authentication experience without the drawbacks of having to put that data in central honeypots that need to be protected.
Absolutely. So really important to think about all those elements of how the data is collected and stored and protected, so that you can protect privacy of users while still benefiting from the bonuses of biometrics, as you mentioned, greater security and enabling an easier customer experience as well. Fantastic. So thank you so much, Fabian. It's been really, really interesting chatting to you briefly today, and I look forward to hearing more and to seeing you and Keyless at our Future Identity Festival in November.
Likewise. Thank you very much, and very much looking forward. Thank you.